everybody, and welcome into Perspectives, the home edition. That's the way life is anymore in television, I'm afraid, because of the pandemic. I'm coming to you on, actually, I'm taping this on Wednesday, January 20th. This was a big day because this was the day that we swore in a new president and a new vice president. So by the time you see this, they will have been in office a few days, and things are already moving. I got to tell you, I was really surprised to see him right off the top start signing legislation. So we got our fingers crossed that things are going to pick up speed. Joe Biden becomes the 46th president. Kamala Harris, of course, vice president, first female, first black, and first South Asian to become vice president of these United States. Our first guest today is a face that should be familiar to you. If not, let me just tell you who she is. Her name is Karen Kiely. And Karen, it's good to have you with us, child.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation.
Now, you're here representing the Community Action Project, am I right?
Indeed, I am. CAP Tulsa is what we are known by in the community.
Say it again, please.
CAP Tulsa.
CAP Tulsa. Could you give us kind of an overview of what CAP does?
Certainly. Well, CAP is a community action agency. We are an anti-poverty agency established during the Johnson administration back in the 60s during the War on Poverty. So CAP serves around 2,000 children, low-income children, birth through 4, in about 140 classrooms in 10 schools across the Tulsa metro area. We also serve about 200 children in a home visiting program where parent educators go into their homes and help moms with the developmental milestones of their young children. Of course, during COVID, that's not happening, but I'm sure we'll get to that in a moment.
Have you been as surprised to learn as I was how many hungry children we have in this area?
Well, I don't know if I'm surprised. I think what we have seen all along, I've been with CAP about 12 years, is there's an ongoing need for families and with young children in our community for all kinds of basic needs. But certainly during the pandemic, that need has heightened greatly, and we've provided a lot of financial assistance to families over the past year or nearly year for food, diapers, of course, rent and utilities as well. But we've always served children lunch and breakfast as well as a snack each day. It's part of our Head Start program.
How old is your organization?
Well, the original form of CAP Tulsa does date back to the 60s. However, in its current form, we've been around for about 20 years. Our founder executive director was Stephen Dow, and then I became executive director about a year ago, October 1st, 2019. So the agency has been a Head Start grantee for about 20 years.
It's a major surprise to me to see the faces of the young ones. I mean, you can generally spot them just quickly, who are in some sort of need. And as you said, from diapers on up, what seems to be the most pressing need?
Well, I'd say our main business is high quality early childhood education. We believe our job is to help level the playing field and set children up for academic success when they enter kindergarten and beyond. So we have a lot of energy around providing high quality instruction to these kiddos who are in our care. And I would say that is really the most pressing need, is surrounding them with love and support and nurturing and high quality education, and supporting their families, their parents, to be able to provide the kind of nurturing environment that fosters a love of learning and great educational opportunities in the future. So I would say that's our community's most pressing need in order to break the cycle of poverty.
Strikes me the most interesting things you mentioned there are the things most desperately needed not only in Tulsa, but all across the country.
Mhm. Oh, that's most certainly true. I mean, if you look at the statistics, those living in poverty in Tulsa, the most impoverished citizens in our community are those 5 and under. About 28% of Tulsans age 5 and under live in poverty. And that's a fairly true statistic across the nation. So I would say that is our community's most pressing need, is to help those young children and set them up for success, and of course support their families around them, who surround them, with love and optimism for the future, but not necessarily the resources in the present. So we take great pride in serving both the children and their parents in what we call a 2-generation approach.
Let me ask you if what I'm doing here is out of place, or if I'm handling it wrong. From time to time, I encounter entire families living out of their car. And in some instances, the car is broken down. They have no money. They have just enough gas to get to a gas station, but they're trying to get that car to run. The first thing I do is try to supply them with your phone number. Am I doing that right?
Oh, absolutely. Certainly, we welcome families at any time during this program year, the school year. We do have a wait list for ages generally under 3, but we do serve those in need, who have the greatest need first, through an automated scoring system. So it's not first come, first serve. It's definitely those who need us most. And we have very robust family support services. We partner with Family and Children's Services to provide family support and behavioral health support to all of our families. So certainly providing them with our phone number is good. I would say for immediate assistance, also 211 would help them with those very immediate needs for financial resources. Unfortunately, we can't do that until they're part of our program, but you'd hate to think that family would go without food or gas or whatever is most pressing in the immediate moment, but certainly on the medium long term, give them our phone number for sure.
My wife, who is also my floor director while we're doing this, keeping time for me, started a little program that we became a part of sometime back, where we carry, for example, a plastic, resealable plastic pouch, a couple of bottles of water, some snacks, just sundry as odds and ends that we can give them if we encounter such folk. And I know that people want to help. Is that an okay thing to pursue, or does it take away from what you all are trying to accomplish?
Oh, not at all. I would say that sounds like a very loving gesture. It sounds like probably a very appropriate gesture. And I think expression of goodwill and humanity, right? So I think all of these supports, from individuals such as yourselves to organizations like CAP Tulsa, as well as the many organizations across Tulsa who are trying to work together to meet all the varying needs of these families. One isn't superior to the other. We all try to work together, and especially during this time, during the pandemic, I would say I'm very excited to see those in the community trying to help the more vulnerable citizens come together, whether they're individuals or organizations. We've done a lot of work with others to try to ameliorate the heightened needs that have emerged during the pandemic.
Well, let me ask you this. How are you funded? Question one. Question two, are you open to donations?
Of course, as a nonprofit, we're always open to donations. We are funded by a variety of sources. About 50% of our funding or so comes from the state of Oklahoma Department of Ed, through the Oklahoma Early Childhood Program, and a private matching gift from the George Kaiser Family Foundation to that program. In addition, about 40% of our budget is federal funds through Head Start, the Office of Head Start, for Head Start and Early Head Start. And then we have, because we're a community action Action Agency. We get some additional federal funding, but all of those funds are very specifically dedicated to our ongoing school-based operations. So we certainly welcome donations to help us add programs and services that those funds don't allow us to fund. I mean, CAP Tulsa is fairly large. We're a $61 million agency with a lot of federal, as I said, and state funds, but we certainly accept donations, and we do have a lot of private foundations in our community who do fund our ongoing work, especially emergency assistance for families, which has been the emergent work of the past 10 months during the pandemic.
So if someone were to send you a check, you wouldn't send it back?
Oh, absolutely not. And we would send them a lovely thank you note, personally signed by me, because we appreciate that kind of ongoing generosity from local Tulsans who are legendary in their philanthropic giving, and CAP Tulsa certainly welcomes their support.
How has the pandemic impacted your organization?
So the pandemic has impacted us profoundly. I would say there's probably nothing we're doing right now as we sit here on January 20th, 2021, that we were doing last January 20th. We have pivoted to a combination of a distance learning program. I hesitate to even say distance learning when you're talking about children 4 and under. It's really been more distance family engagement, if you can think about it that way. Along with a hybrid model, when it's been safe to operate, we've brought kids in on a sort of an A-B schedule, splitting the groups so they were smaller numbers in 2. So some coming Monday, Tuesday, others coming Thursday, Friday. As I said, we've also provided a tremendous amount of emergency assistance. I just saw the numbers. We provided more than $300,000 to nearly 800 families who we served through December 2020, and we still have resources, and that still continues. And a large amount of that is food and diapers, but also rent and utilities. Eviction prevention is something we are very centered on right now, so folks aren't ending up living in their cars like the family you mentioned a little bit ago.
So
we've given a lot of technology out as well. Sorry.
So much need out there, so desperate. Listen, Karen, I want to thank you for coming by and extend an open invitation. If there's anything you need down the road that we can help with, let us know. We'll be glad to bring you back, okay?
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be on the show and to meet you and to get to know the program. Thank you.
That's great, Karen. Thank you. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.